Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Before we get into the video, I'm a huge supporter of our Wounded Warriors Foundation and our veterans. You can help me, help them, and all you have to do is hit like and subscribe and help me build this channel. Because once this channel gets big enough and I can make money from it, a portion of the proceeds will be going to the Wounded Warriors Foundations and some different veteran programs. So if you're a veteran, thank you so much for your service. If you're tuning in and you're a subscriber, thanks for tuning in and supporting this channel. Let's get into the video. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in today. Today I want to talk to you about the sway bar, anti-sway bar that I'm installing on my CJ7. So the CJ7 is almost complete. I've almost got it ready to tear apart and paint and powder coat. I have these trim pieces I had a friend of mine make up. I've got them all set and drilled. And one of the last things I'm working on has been the steering. And this, I have the Dana 30, the stock Dana 30 with 48 gears. And this is a short axle. But one of the things I want to do is I want to get the steering situated. And what initially I did on these CJs, and this has got a spring over lift with a 4-inch leaf spring. So springs are over the axles. And what I did is I built a bar that goes from here and then it curves down. It's called a Z-link and went to the bottom down here. But the problem with that is when you hit the gas and the front end comes up, it will pull that bar and it will pull the steering. So when you hit the gas, the Jeep wants to go to the left, and when you hit the brake and come down, the front end drops, it pushes your steering away from you. So then the Jeep will go to the right. I had a 1983, my 83 CJ7 was set up the same way, and it did that. And I, with a 600 horsepower motor that's going in this, I did not want to deal with that steering issue. So I looked online for a high steer kit for a Dana 30, which only one company makes. There used to be a CV joint, I forget the name of them. They used to make a CV joint, a high steer kit, but they discontinued it for the Dana 30. So this is, I think it's called Mountain 4x4, Mountain Off-Road, something like that. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name. But what they do is they have these brackets, a left and right bracket that attaches to your knuckle. And you drill the holes here, you drill the hole here, and on both sides, which it takes a while to drill because this is very thick. And I did not want to drill it. I welded this to my knuckle, and I don't have to worry about bolts coming out or anything like that. It's going to be very sturdy. If you ever buy this and decide to do this to your Dana 30 and you want to weld it to your knuckle, make sure you take a torch and you heat this knuckle up because it's so thick that it needs to be able to, that weld needs to be able to sink down into that metal. So heat this up first before you weld it, or get somebody to weld it. I have the tie rod and the steering bar with Heims on it, custom made. And this is going to go with this in misalignment spacers. So these are going to go together, and I'm going to have a nice straight line from my steering box to the knuckle. So I'm not going to have an issue with that up and down and the steering going from left to right. Now, the problem that arose is the sway bar, the stock sway bar. They on their website, they don't mention anything about using their spring over lift. They do sell spring over lifts, but they didn't say that these brackets have to be used with their spring over lift. I already had my spring over lift. So with the spring over lift, let me show you on the other side. You have on the spring plate, you have the sway bar mount. This is where the sway bar mounts to. So let me grab my sway bar, and this would mount here like such. All right. However, when you turn this in, it will hit the sway bar on both sides. So if that piece I cut off already, it would hit right here. So you can't get full turn on left or right. So I cut these off, and on the stock spring plates, they also have a shock mount. But I have shock hoops, custom shock hoops, and I made the bottom shock mount myself and did that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get new plates, and without this, just flat plates, and I bought a anti-rock sway bar. It's not gonna be as stiff as the OEM sway bar, but it's gonna be better than nothing. This has not only the spring over lift, but a 4-inch lift spring. So we're talking about 9 inches of lift. So my center of gravity is high, and this is mostly gonna be driven on the road, probably only on the road. So what I found was I started looking at sway bar kits. Everybody knows that Curry Enterprises, they build the Rock Jock sway bar. And if you can see this, I don't know if you can see it, but this is their universal kit. I need a 32-inch bar because my frame is 30 or 29.5 inches wide, and you get a 3-inch wider sway bar than what you have. This is the universal kit, and it is $691 with aluminum arms. The steel arms are $605. So this is what I tried to get first, but they are out of stock. There's none anywhere in the country. I can't get them. And this is one of the last things I have to do in order to pull the Jeep apart, send it off, and get it painted and powder coated. The axles, I body worked the axles, so the axles are getting painted. So I need to do this now and get this fabricated up now. So what I found was a sway bar kit from a company called TK-1 Racing. TK-1 Racing not only builds badass sway bars, but they also build like landing components for aircrafts like Cessnas, I guess, and you know, they're smaller planes. Well, you got to be pretty good fabricators if you're fabricating things for you know, landing gear for airplanes. So I'm going to show you their kit, and then I'm going to tell you their price. All right. So this is the TK-1 arms. This is a billet, very thick. It looks thicker than the Curry one, the Rock Jock, because the Curry one kind of goes down and gets smaller. This is like thick all the way down. And what it does, it sits inside here. Very nice. You've got your DOM tubing, which is going to go, I have to cut the hole, but it's going to go through the frame, the front of the frame, and that will get welded in. And then this is your sway bar, that will go through here. And then you have these billet pieces that tie it in to the bar, all right? You've got your heim joints. This bar you will cut to length for 2 pieces. And then it has these really nice also billet end pieces with screws. These are your weld-in bungs and your brackets. So this kit is pretty stout, pretty heavy duty looking. I like the looks of it, and these bars are billet aluminum. Now, the Curry kit with the aluminum bars are $690. This kit was $550 total out the door, and that's with $90 shipping. So I'm not getting paid by this company, not sponsored, anything like that. But if on this channel, if I see something or have a product that is a good product, I want to tell you guys about it. If I have a bad product, I'm going to tell you guys about it. So this so far seems like a really nice stout kit. I'll get it installed once the Jeep gets built. Then I'll do an update maybe on how it actually rides and the difference with it and without it connected. So the way that I'm going to, I think, install this is because the bar, this is going to be 20 inches from here back to somewhere right in here. And when I'm looking, I don't really have a lot of places that I can mount that bar. You could do something from here, mounting something up here, but it would be off center. When that bar comes out, it's going to be somewhere along the lines here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm going to build a bracket, and it's going to attach here. It's going to come up, and then it's going to come out, and then go back down at an angle, and then I'll fill in the sides. So you'll have a little shelf right here that these will sit on, like here. So you'll have the shock, and then you'll have the sway bar that comes down off the main bar that will be attached here. So let's get into this and see how it turns out. All right, guys, so I ran into an issue, and let me show you what, two issues actually. So when I cut this hole, it already had a pre-existing hole, and I used this corner of the hole as a mark and brought the hole out this way. So I lined up the tube with this side and brought the hole forward. So anyways, when I cut it and I put this in, this lip here was in the way. The way it arches, it was up, and it would not let me slide this through into the other hole. So it is somewhat of a simple fix, and my simple fix was this. So I just banged it down. It doesn't even look like it's beat up or anything. I took kind of care in bending this down. I didn't want to cut this because this has adds a lot of rigidity, believe it or not, to the structure, even though it's welded. And when I weld this in, it's going to add more rigidity. But if I can bend it down and not cut it, that's what I want to do. This is all going to be hidden by the bumper, so not a big issue. So anytime you're building a Jeep, car, whatever, and you're building stuff, you always tack everything. Don't fully weld anything until you're ready to blow it apart and paint and powder coat it, because you never know what other stuff you may need to buy or add or move. And here's the issue that I had with this. With these, with this arm, let me get the arm. So this arm would fit about like this. And if you notice, it's hit my shock. So I did not have my shock in place. And I thought that when I measured 21 inches or 20 inches, which is what the arm is, it's kind of hard to measure it when it's not here, but I did it without the shock being in place, and now it's hitting the shock. So now what I have to do is, luckily all I did was tack weld here and here on both sides. So I'm gonna cut these, my shock hoop off, and just take it and move it probably 3/4 of an inch over, and then I'll have to cut this and come down. This side, there's a finger width gap, and this side there's not, so I was gonna cut this anyways. But if I had welded this DOM tubing would be, by the time I cut this off, I'll probably get into the frame and a little bit. And so anyways, tack everything before you, don't weld anything up until you're absolutely done. So I measured I have Fox shocks going on this, and I have some Fox shocks in my truck, and I measured the eye It's 1.5 inches across. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come out from underneath this. I'm gonna put a plate out and down, and the bar is gonna hit somewhere around here. So that's the problem I ran into. Let me get back on this and move this shock tower, and we'll keep going. Okay, so I'm to the point that I need to cut the DOM tubing that is going through the Jeep frame. This doesn't come any specific size, but this is how you figure out exactly the length to cut it. So let me get the camera down here. So you have your bar, your splined bar, and you have your end pieces, okay? So there's splines in here. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna put the bar in the splines. I'm not gonna actually do it. I can get it about so far, but I have to kind of pound it on, and it's a little difficult to get it off and on. So you put you need to put your bushings in just like they would be in here. So your bushing's gonna go on, and then your end bars, and the splines are gonna come just to the outside of the splines on the arm so that it's level. So you're gonna do that to both sides. And then once you have your arms all the way on, and there's gonna be about 1/4 inch of spline that's showing. So you've got, once these are all the way in, that's about 1 inch of spline that's in the arm. But anyway, so it's gonna look like this, okay? You've got your bushings all the way out against there. Your arms are all the way on. And then you can take your bar and put it, I actually got this one in backwards. So the lips of this go to the outside as if it was going into the DOM. And then you push these all the way out, and then you can measure from the inside of the lip. You can actually put this bar against the lip here. And then, or just measure from the inside of the lip to the inside of the lip, measure your bar and cut it. So that's how you're gonna measure your DOM before you cut it. All right, let's keep going. All right, so I am now done with the sway bar, but I have this alignment issue that I just cannot figure out. Maybe you guys can help me with it. The Jeep just will not go straight for some reason. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But anyways, all right, so I've tacked everything in. I've got the bar on. It's a beefy looking bar. The was it anti-rock? Their bar starts off thick and it goes really small, but this is thick all the way down, and well, we like thick, right? All the way down. All right, so I cut out the inner fender well and moved my shock tower over. So now you can see I have about a finger's width of space there before it was hitting. So moved the shock tower back, and I went ahead and fabbed up this bracket. So, and then welded the eyelet to the bracket in the center for the Heim joint. And what I'll end up doing is filling in, putting a piece of plate here, TIG welding it so it all looks nice. And I set this up, leveled it out, and I put my Heim up here and put my Heim down here. It comes with just one long bar that you have to cut to size, and it's got these. Let me go to the other side because that side is bolted in, but this side is out. So I went ahead and put these on and threaded them down all the same to where I had some adjustment, and then I went ahead and mounted these, one here, one up here, and then all you gotta do is take your measurement from the lip here to the lip up here, and voila, you have your bars. So the only issue that I'm finding is when I put the level on the other bar on the other side, it was level. When I tried to put this bar on the exact same spline so that this one's level, it doesn't work out that way. It's either here or it's like here, but I need it in the middle, and I don't have that spline. So you know, I chose the lower spline. You'll never be able to tell by looking at it, but if you cut one side, where's the bar? If you cut one side, normally you could cut both sides the same, but that's not the case. If you make these tube ends threaded on the Heims all the same, then this bar will be a different size. Now I could cut it the same size and then just move these down or up to fit, but that's not the way you should do it. So you could get a good exact fit, and so that you have some room for adjustment. This is about a ½ an inch off of what the other side is, but again, you'll never see that. So it came out nice. I like the bar, the thick bar, and it's all aluminum. I believe it's, you know, if I was buying the other one from the anti-rock from Curry Enterprises, this one's cheaper. Their steel one, like I said, is $605. This one's $550 shipped, and it's aluminum. So far, so good. This is done. I just need to TIG weld here and here, the Heim's in, and I'm not that good of a TIG welder, so I'm gonna have somebody else do that. It will also have different shocks. These are just mock-up shocks, and I am almost done mocking up. I went ahead and filled in this hole since I'm not gonna have a top on it or anything. I mean, I'll have a bikini top, but if it does rain, well, I mean, it's gonna get water everywhere anyway, so, but I went ahead and filled this in. There's some holes in the firewall that I have to fill in, and then it's ready to take apart and paint and powder coat. Man, it's a big step. One other thing, I bought some wheels and tires for it. I bought some 40, sorry about that light. I bought some 40 Yokohama 1550 by 20s, and then I bought some HD 20 by 12s. Went and picked them up, went all the way. I'm in Tampa, I went to Lakeland. It's about an hour and 15-minute drive. Had to go pick them up. It was discount tire. they've got good deals. They'll beat anybody's price if you can find it on the internet. It ended up saving me $500 because I found a better price and saved me $550. Mounting and balancing was $24 a tire. Nobody around here is going to mount and balance them for that. If you have a discount tire around you, I'd say look into them. Pretty good deals, even if you have to drive an hour. The only issue is I got the wheels and tires, came back, and they don't fit. They don't fit the Jeep because he didn't take into account that my hubs are 108 millimeter. And the center of the HDs, the ones that would fit my Jeep axles, are only 10 inches wide. For whatever reason, they make a 20 by 12 with a 20 by 10 with a 108 millimeter center, but not a 20 by 12 or anything else. I'm kind of glad they didn't fit, because once I put them on, they look very boxy. Because these axles are so short, they sat underneath. I was planning on putting a spacer, a 2-inch spacer, but even with that, it's going to be too much of a boxy look. I want the wheels just outside of the fenders. So I found 2 different companies that build custom wheels, and I'm looking to get a 17 by 16 inch wheel with a pit bull rocker. It's going to be a 39.5 by 16.5 by 17. But they're so backed up, it takes about 3 months to build, and I'm a little skeptic because I need to get this done and have it to Jeep Beach. There's a lot of sponsors, a couple sponsors that are counting on me to get this done. And again, I'm not sponsoring TK-1 Racing, but if you're listening, okay, hit me up. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Help me support Wounded Warriors Foundation, and I'll see you on the next one.